Hey YouTube, back with another video, and in this one we're going to be animating an Octorok shooting a rock. So we'll just get right into it. So if you played any older Zelda games, or even the new one with Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, yeah, you got Octoroks, and what they do is they spit rocks. So that's what I'm gonna be doing today. I'm just gonna be animating this Octorok spitting a rock before bed, and then you guys can just study the sprite. So first thing we need to do is I'm gonna keep frame 1 the same, but frame 2 I'm gonna animate him doing an anticipation. So basically anticipation is it's basically whenever a character or monster gets ready to attack and they kind of wind up or something like that. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna try just grabbing this chunk of his sprite here and just moving it back a little bit. I'm just gonna be tweaking this existing sprite here just to save some time, and then we can repolish it as we go. Now, I'm thinking I may want to resize his mouth, kind of like he's sucking in the air before he shoots, but I'm not sure how it's gonna look. A lot of times when I'm drawing, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of trying stuff out until I get something decent. All right, and then I'm gonna take frame 1, duplicate it, and move this to the end. And then this is going to be his firing or spitting frame. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to stretch his mouth to look like he's shooting. Something like that. And then maybe we can squish it down. And then we're going to move his entire sprite. Not his entire sprite. We're going to keep his back foot in place, but we're going to need him to kind of lunge forward a bit, kind of stretch forward. So something like that. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to add more frames. Actually, no, not yet. What we're going to do right now is we're going to draw the rock. We're going to draw the rock spitting out of his mouth, which means I'm going to duplicate frame 3 here, this one. I'm going to duplicate it just as a backup. You know, I don't want to accidentally break the sprite we already have, because it's pretty good. But now that we have 2, I'm just going to try to work on number 3 and draw in this rock here, which is going to start off small, but it's going to expand as it comes out of his mouth. Let me see if I can use a redder color tone for this rock, or some other color. Kind of not a fan of that color palette. I do kind of like this color. Or we can do this color here. Which one? I think we're going with purple. And also maybe we should increase the contrast. Okay, looks good to me. Now I'm gonna duplicate frame 4, keep it as a backup. Then on frame 4, we're gonna have to redraw this rock going forward. And then as we do this, we gotta make sure we have to make sure it's like spinning. I don't want the sprite to stay in a constant appearance, so maybe we can just rotate it a little bit, something like that. And then we're gonna smear it. Also, it's probably a good idea to make sure we get the frame rate decent here. I think that's a good frame rate already. So I'm just gonna focus on this rock motion going forward, and then I'm gonna finish up the Octorok. And then this smear here, I'm just gonna keep alternating it. So right here it has 2 smear tails, then here it's only 1, and I'm just gonna keep alternating that. All right, maybe a little bit faster is better. I think I want to make the rocks go a little bit slower. What I want is, I wanted to, when it gets towards the end of the canvas, I want it to fall to the floor and break. I'm gonna shrink this smear so it looks like it's going slower. Also, you can, I think the default for a sprite is you can press shift and the arrow keys while you have your pixels selected. You can press shift and the arrow keys to move them a lot faster. Like if you just use the arrow keys alone, it moves 1 pixel at a time, but holding down shift, it moves it a lot more. So maybe here is where it starts to fall to the ground, and then here is where it breaks. Let me duplicate this frame a couple times. I'm just gonna see how the motion is gonna look. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna polish it right now, but I just want to see how the motion is gonna look. So basically it's gonna break, the rocks are gonna spread out and then disappear into nothing. Maybe I'm just gonna make it go straight into the wall or the edge of the canvas here, and then when it hits the edge of the canvas, then the rock's gonna break, because it looks kind of strange how it just breaks out of nowhere there. I feel like it should just hit a wall. Maybe we can just crop this canvas actually, and then maybe there will be a spark, some kind of impact spark. We can probably just use this spark and duplicate it and just shrink it here. Whenever you're drawing sparks or flames or anything like that, generally speaking, the middle part is going to be pretty bright, and then as it gets further out, it's going to get weaker and the color is going to get darker. I think the order of fiery colors is, it starts with white and then it goes to blue, to yellow, to orange, to red. So this doesn't look too bad. And let's see if we can reuse this. Okay, now we're just gonna polish up these pebbles. Okay, so I was just spending a couple of minutes polishing up the impact of the rock, and I don't think there's too much to say, but I think the result looks pretty good right now. And now I think the final thing to do is just give the Octorok an idle animation in between. So that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, and I forgot, I still need to give him some in-between frames as well. Okay, so I took a couple minutes to polish up his anticipation, so this is what it looks like now. And I think that looks pretty good. Now we just gotta make it so we have more frames in between here. So 3 and 4, we need a couple more frames. I think we should still move him further back in his anticipation here. Doesn't look like enough, so I'm just gonna bring him back. And then this is gonna swing a bit, his mouth. It's gonna have a bit of a swing to it before it shoots out the rock. So if we play it back now, let's see how it looks. something like that might work. Just needs a little more polish. Okay, so I think we have a decent animation loop here. I'm just gonna polish up these frames, and then we're gonna add in his idle animation in between. Okay, so I don't think he actually needs an idle animation, but what I do think he needs is, I think he needs his mouth to open a little bit bigger before he spits. So let's just see how that looks. Okay, so now I think it's looking pretty finished. Whoops, I just noticed the foot needs to be a little bit more shadowy. Let's see, this foot here. And then what I like to do after I finish the animation is I just like to tweak the speed just to see which speed works best. Okay, so overall, I think this animation looks pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.